morning, class. This is Mr. Gilbert. You remember last time we stopped on the introduction to language acquisition, but now we are going to continue with factors that can influence second language acquisition. Dear students, as you are aware, some language students or learners learn a new language more quickly and easily than others. Some learners are also successful by virtue of their determination, hard work, and resistance. However, there are some factors that may influence the success of language learning. These are often categorized under internal and external factors. Dear students, for internal factors of language acquisition, we can identify like age. When you talk of age as a factor of language acquisition, you know that second language acquisition is influenced by the age of the learner, because like children who already have solid literacy skills in their own language seem to be in the best position to acquire a new language efficiently. In the same way, motivated older learners can be very successful too, but usually struggle to achieve native speaker equivalent pronunciation and intonation. When we talk of factor age, we refer to young learners and adult learners. So the young learners and adult learners can learn differently depending on their age. Factor number 2 I want you to know is about personality. You know, there are people who are introvert and others who are extrovert. So you will find that people who are extrovert, in other words, outgoing students, would not worry about the inevitability of making mistakes. So these ones would take risk and give themselves much more practice because they don't fear. They are extrovert and they can express themselves easily. Whereas introvert people, they are anxious learners, but they make slow progress, particularly in the development of oral skills. They are less likely to take advantage of opportunities to speak or to seek out for such opportunities. Another factor I want you to know is motivation. You know, with motivation, we refer to two types. We have intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. And with intrinsic motivation, this is known as integrative or internal motivation. For example, a learner wants to become part of society or community. It has been found that motivation correlates strongly with educational achievement. Students who enjoy language learning and take pride in their progress will do better than those who don't. With extrinsic motivation, also known as instrumental or external motivation, it's like, for example, work or education, which can be a significant factor. With internal factors also, we can mention experiences, where learners who have acquired general knowledge and experience are in a strong position to develop a new language than those who don't have. The student, for example, who has already lived in 3 different countries and been exposed to various languages and cultures has a stronger base for learning a further language than the student who hasn't had such experience. Another factor is cognition. When we talk of cognition here, we mean the development capacity of intelligence. So this, if students have greater cognitive abilities or intelligence, these students will have or will make faster progress. So, as some linguists believe, there is a specific innate language learning ability that is stronger in some students than in others. Another factor is native language. Students who are learning a second language, which is from the same language family as their first language have in general, they learn much easier than those who aren't. So, for example, a Kinyarwanda speaker will learn Shona, or a language spoken in Zimbabwe, more quickly than a German or a French speaker, because for this Kinyarwanda learner, there is a link or a kind of correlation between his native language with this particular language we are talking about. So, members, let us also look at external factors of language acquisition, where we are going to mention, first of all, curriculum. So it is obvious that students, for English, which is learned as a second language, students in particular, it is important that the totality of their educational experience is appropriate for their needs. In order for learning to take place, they need extra assistance until they have reached a certain level of language proficiency. So, factor number 2, which is external, we can talk of instruction. So, when we talk of instruction, we refer to special teachers. So, you will find that some language teachers are better than others at providing appropriate and effective learning experiences for the students in their classrooms. So these students will make faster progress, of course, if they meet better teachers. So we can also mention culture and status as external factor, where we say that there is some evidence that students in situations where their own culture has a lower status than that of the culture in which they are learning the language makes slower progress. We will explain more on this. We talked also about motivation. Motivation comes as an internal factor, but it also comes back as external factor at the same time. So since we have understood about motivation, we are not going to spend time here, but I want us to go to this factor on access to native speakers. When you talk of access to native speakers, this means the opportunity to interact with the native speakers both within and outside of the classroom as a significant advantage. If you are learning a language and you are able, or you can find people to interact with who are native speakers, it is going to be very easy for you to acquire this language, because you can even you can get feedback, you can learn some new words from these native speakers, so it becomes very easy for you to learn. So members, as I have mentioned, these were the factors that influence language acquisition, and as you have seen, we have tackled internal factors and external factors, where we have mentioned age, we have mentioned personality, we have mentioned motivation, we have mentioned experiences, we have talked about cognition, native language, we have also talked about curriculum as external factor, instruction, culture and status as external factors, motivation, which comes as internal and external factor, and access to native speakers. So members, I thank you very much, and you are going to take time, you revise, you understand these factors, then we shall meet in another session. I thank you very much. We shall meet in another session. Have a good day. Thank you.